The VIP room went silent the moment she spoke. Not because Maya Ellison raised her voice, she didn't, but because her answer wasn't the obedient apology everyone expected. Grant Caldwell, billionaire and heir to a name that ruled half the city, stared at her as if the floor had shifted beneath him. He had asked a simple question. She had given him a truth sharp enough to wound. "Maya," he repeated slowly, trying to understand the tremor he felt. "Who taught you to talk to a man like me?" Her hands tightened around the tray she carried, but her eyes didn't move from his. "A man like you destroyed my family," she said quietly, each word steady enough to rattle the crystal glasses on the table. "So I learned not to fear your kind." Grant blinked as if struck. His date scoffed, the room bristled, and Maya's voice cut through it all. "You want respect," she said, "but you've never earned mine." In an instant, the billionaire who commanded boardrooms was the one left speechless, because Maya wore something he never expected to see again. Something that should have been buried with his mother. What happens next will change everything. If this opening pulls you in, make sure to like the video and subscribe to Canada's Heartfelt Tales so you never miss the next chapter. The moment Grant Caldwell rose from his chair, the entire VIP room seemed to recoil. Not because he was angry, he wasn't. What unsettled the onlookers was the way he watched Maya Ellison, the waitress who had just spoken to him with a quiet force that shattered the expensive stillness around them. No one had ever talked to Grant like that. And no one expected him to listen. Maya stood completely still, her breathing controlled, though her fingers trembled against the tray she held. The dim chandelier light caught the silver chain around her neck, the locket. The one piece of jewelry Grant had seen only twice in his life. Once on his mother the night before she died, and once in her coffin. His voice was low but sharp enough to cut air. "Where did you get that?" Maya didn't flinch. "You already know." Across the table, Grant's date muttered something venomous, but he didn't hear her. His eyes stayed fixed on the locket, on Maya, on the truth pressing against the edges of his mind. Then the manager rushed over, sweating, wringing his hands. "Sir, she didn't mean disrespect. I'll remove her immediately." "No," Grant said. One word, steady and lethal. The room went silent again. Maya's jaw tightened. She wasn't afraid of losing her job. She wasn't afraid of Grant's wealth or the stares of the elite around them. What terrified her was the possibility that he really didn't remember her mother. That the life stolen from them meant so little to him. "I'm not here to start a scene," Maya said quietly. "I just wanted the truth." Grant didn't answer. He simply walked away from the table. But he didn't leave the restaurant. He followed Maya. Maya slipped into the staff hallway, expecting the usual scolding from management. Instead, she felt the air shift behind her. She turned, tray still in hand, and found Grant blocking the corridor. 6'2" tailored shirt, but shaken in a way she had never seen a man like him shaken. "Tell me your mother's name," he said. Maya swallowed. "Elena Ellison." The impact of the name hit him like a door slamming shut. Lena. The woman who had worked in his family's company. The woman his father had fired without warning after she uncovered financial fraud. The woman destroyed by a scandal she never caused. The woman who died 2 months later while fighting a lawsuit she couldn't afford. The woman who had given him cookies in the break room when he was 12. The woman who used to tell him, "You have more kindness in you than your father ever will." The woman his father's lawyers erased. Grant looked physically pained. "Maya, I didn't know what he did to her. I swear to you." "You didn't want to know," she replied softly. "That's worse." He stepped closer but she stepped back. "My father ruined her," Maya continued, voice trembling. "And he made sure no one in this city would hire her afterward. You ask why I'm here. Because someone has to face what happened. And you're the only Caldwell still standing." Was heavy. "Why show the locket now?" he asked. She lifted her chin. "Because you wouldn't have listened to anything else." Grant closed his eyes, his hands tightening as if fighting some internal war. When he opened them, something in him had shifted, a fracture widening into a vow. Come with me, he said quietly. There's something you need to see. That night, Grant didn't return to his penthouse. He took Maya to the Caldwell Tower, floor 47, his private office. The city glowed below them, but the tension between them overshadowed the skyline. He entered his password with shaking hands and unlocked a series of restricted files. Financial documents, emails, internal memos. Then he turned the screen so Maya could see. These are the records from the year your mother worked for us, Grant said. I ordered a full audit 3 years ago. But the files were tampered with. Maya's breath caught. Tampered by who? Grant hesitated before answering. My father. And the man who helped him, our former CFO. He clicked another folder. This one was labeled Ellison Termination. Maya recognized the signature at the bottom of the document. Brock Harrington, CFO. The man her mother once said had wolf's eyes behind a perfect smile. Her hands balled into fists. He accused her of leaking documents she didn't even have access to. And my father paid him to do it, Grant said, bitterness twisting his voice. Maya looked at him sharply. So what now? You feel guilty and that's supposed to fix anything? No, he said. But I'm going to fix what I can. Grant pushed a flash drive across the desk toward her. It contains every piece of evidence I could recover. Enough to take Brock down. Enough to expose my father. Maya stared at the drive. You're giving this to me. I'm giving you justice, he said. The kind your mother never got. Her voice broke. You don't even know what justice costs. I'm starting to understand. Their eyes held. That fragile moment hung between them. Two people with nothing in common except a buried truth neither chose. Then the office door slammed open. Brock Harrington strode in, gray hair slicked back, suit immaculate, expression carved from ice. Well, Brock drawled. I heard noise on this floor, but I didn't expect a family reunion. Grant's posture stiffened. How did you get past security? I don't need security, Brock replied. I own them. His gaze slid to Maya. So you finally found the little waitress, he said, amused. The one who got herself fired tonight. I saw the report. Maya didn't flinch. Brock turned back to Grant. Do you have any idea the damage she could do if she walked out of here? Grant stepped in front of her. That's why she's not walking out alone. Brock's smile thinned. You're making a mistake. Your father won't shield you from this. I'm not the one who needs shielding, Grant said. Cute, Brock sneered. But this ends now. He reached inside his coat. Grant tensed. But Brock didn't pull out a weapon. He pulled out a phone. Security is on the way, he said casually. And when they get here, they'll arrest her for trespassing and theft. Her story will disappear like her mother's did. Maya's heartbeat thudded painfully. The same trap. The same pattern. The same corrupt machine that crushed her mother. But Grant moved before fear overtook her. He stepped beside her and pressed the intercom button. Security, he said, voice steady. Detain Brock Harrington. Effective immediately. He is relieved of duty for financial misconduct and obstruction of justice. Silence. Then the head of security replied. Yes, Mr. Caldwell. Brock's eyes widened. You don't have that authority. Grant's expression hardened. I became CEO yesterday. The board voted. My father lost his seat. Brock lunged toward the desk, but 2 guards stormed in, grabbed his arms and restrained him. You think this will save you? Brock spat, struggling against them. You're naive. Your father will bury you both. Grant leaned close. You overestimate him. He can't protect himself anymore. Brock's composure cracked, true panic seeping through. What did you do? Nothing, Grant said. You did it to yourself. As the guards dragged Brock out of the office, Maya watched the man who ruined her mother, watched his perfect facade finally crack under the weight of his own sins. It wasn't enough to erase the years of suffering, but it was something. For the first time, she felt the ground shift in her favor. Grant turned to her. "This isn't over. My father still needs to answer for what he did." "And what about what you did?" Maya asked softly. Grant took a breath. "I can't change the past. But I can change the future, if you let me." She didn't respond. Not yet. Her loyalty was not something money could buy. It had to be earned. But in the quiet space between them, amid the hum of the city and the echo of Brock's downfall, a new battle was beginning, one that would decide whether the sins of the Caldwell Empire would end with the father, or with the son who finally dared to confront them. And soon, one of them would pay a price that would shake the entire city. The investigation that followed moved faster than anyone expected. With Brock in custody and the buried files finally exposed, Grant pushed forward with a resolve he'd never shown before. For the first time, he stopped hiding behind the Caldwell name and stood on his own, facing board members, prosecutors, and the truth he had avoided for years. Maya watched all of it unfold, not from the shadows, but from a place she had earned. She wasn't the timid server from the first night anymore. She carried herself with a steadiness that came from knowing her mother's story would never again be dismissed or erased. When the verdict arrived, the city held its breath. Grant's father was convicted, every charge proven, every lie dismantled. And as he was led out of the courtroom, the same silence that once filled the VIP room settled again, but this time it wasn't fear. It was closure. Grant didn't celebrate. He simply turned to Maya, eyes steady. "Your mother deserved the truth. And so did you." Maya nodded, not out of triumph, but acceptance. Justice didn't heal everything, but it opened a path neither of them had expected. A path built on honesty, not legacy. Outside the courthouse, the winter sun broke through the clouds, catching the silver edges of her locket as if the light itself was reclaiming something long lost. If this story moved you, please like the video,